Hello, my name is David Rose, and I'm the Senior Vice President and Manager of the Public Finance Department at Davenport and Company, a Virginia-based firm that's had the good fortune of being around for about 150 years. Having said that, we've been in the business of working with local governments, particularly Franklin County and a number of the counties here in Virginia, for decades now. And in doing so, we've had the ability to look at local governments, especially in the last several years, under a very difficult national and state environment, given the recessionary pressures and all the things that have happened by virtue of the changes in the world. With that being said, I'd like to spend a few minutes today and talk about Franklin County and how it's been weathering the storm here in the new millennium. I'd like to start today by giving you a perspective of Franklin County's credit rating. All of us, whether we like it or not, have a credit rating. Some of us find that over these last several years, with the difficulties, our credit ratings have suffered. Local governments have found the same thing, but fortunately here in Franklin County, the county's rating itself has actually gone the other way. It's actually improved over the last several years, and there'll be a number of reasons that I'd like to point out. Having said that, credit ratings are particularly important for local governments because they are effectively a proxy for the local government's finances, its stability, and its view by a variety of independent folks that live nowhere near Franklin County or Virginia. And these folks basically, right or wrong, tell us how Franklin County is viewed by the overall world of finance. And with that being said, I'm pleased to say that Franklin County's ratings are basically one notch below the very highest ratings, which is called a AAA. As you can see here, the various rating credit scale, Franklin County is actually in what's called the AA category. That is very lofty. To give you a perspective, there is less than 20% of all the counties in Virginia find themselves in this AA or better category. There is basically 6 of the 95 counties in the AAA category. And what's interesting about that is all of those counties have populations that are considerably larger than Franklin County. There may be one exception there, but by and large, you typically don't see local governments with AAA ratings that are less than 100,000 in population. That said, Franklin County, given its population, which is considerably below 100,000, finds itself in that AA category, and again, that's a very strong level to be in. The rating agencies have given Franklin County, as I indicated, very strong ratings, and they have indicated that these ratings are based upon a number of things, including a very stable financial position, strong reserves, fiscal policies that they view as conservative, low overall debt burden, and a variety of other things such as diversifying the economy with an emphasis on economic development that moves us away from being reliant on one particular tax base. And so with all these things being said, the rating agencies look very positively on Franklin County. I'd like to talk for a few moments about the 4 key factors that the rating agencies and people in our industry as outsiders look at local governments as a check and balance to see that things are indeed moving in the right direction. Those 4 factors are the economy, the financial management, the debt levels, and then finally the demographic of the local government and the region. All 3 of those, the 3 of the 4 I should say, really the county has a strong ability to change in a short period of time. The demographics take longer, but the demographics again in part are by virtue of our natural resources, our fortunate location, a number of things that really we have limited control over, but with good economic development policy comes the ability to help steer the demographics over time. That said, I'd like to talk for a moment or two about the 3 factors, the economy, the finance, and the debt, that really do have an ability to move quickly, both good and bad, and how Franklin County has fared and how we're viewed over the last several years. With regard to the economy, there are several critical factors that influence it: population, unemployment rate, income levels, tax base concentration, and tax base growth. What we find is Franklin County looks very favorable on a number of these factors. As you can see here on the graphic, the population of Franklin County has grown by approximately 2%, just a slightly under, over the past decade. That in turn is viewed nationally as being a solid, steady growth, but not out of control growth that causes a lot of problems. And so again, a positive from the perspective of moving the demographics. The unemployment rate. Once again, Franklin County has seen its unemployment rate rise, but it's by and large been pretty much parallel to the state of Virginia. You'll notice here on the graphic, the state of Virginia, though, historically, like Franklin County, has been considerably below the national average. And the good news has been in October of this past year, our unemployment level here in Franklin County has been 6.5%. It'd be ideal to have no unemployment, of course, but realistically, we've seen that come down from a high of almost 8.5% a little bit more than 2 years ago at the sort of the height of the economic recessionary environment. Another factor I indicated that is critical is per capita income. With the changing demographics of the nation and our state and the region, we have found that the per capita income on average has risen about 3.5 to 3.6% per year over the last several years. Again, a positive sign for Franklin County and one that we hope will continue, which helps in a number of ways as a perspective in terms of the growing power of the citizenry. Another factor, tax base concentration. As you may see here on the graphic, there is no one industry, no one taxpayer that accounts for even 1% of the total assessed value. The good news there is that the tax base is very diverse, spread out, and as a result, if there is going to be some form of loss, which hopefully there won't be, it will not be more than 1% or less than 1% actually here in Franklin County. That's not necessarily the case in many other local governments. Particularly you see that in a place like Detroit, where upwards of half to 2/3 of the local government can be relying on one particular plant. That again, if it closes down or shuts or it goes down to a fraction of what it's been, it can have devastating effects on the local economy. Tax base growth. Over the last several years, the county has seen its tax base grow. Up through 2008, there had been steady growth. We reevaluate the assessed value every 4 years here in the county, and one of the things that we note here in 2012 is there actually will be a decrease of about 15%. That's a market decrease. Over time it has risen. If you take a 10-year perspective, it's gone up nicely. But again, based upon this recessionary environment, we are seeing a pullback, and it's something that we have to be mindful of. But again, all of these factors, including tax base, still remain very strong, and so again, the county is still in a very solid position. Thanks for watching. This concludes segment 1. We hope you'll continue to watch and look for segment 2.